Every so often, we just don't get our way in the hobby. Maybe it's karma, general misfortune, or just pure idiocy. Let's have a little story time where I tell you my 3 biggest personal fishy disasters. Number 3 on the list takes me back to my college years. I was just getting serious into the hobby and getting excited about my 5-gallon beta paradise. The tank was decked out with a dirted substrate, a carpet of Marsilia quadrifolia, 2 moss walls, and gorgeous nano manzanita. This tank looked amazing. I was running DIY CO2, which had the plants growing well, but I wanted to boost it even more. I picked up a couple of paintball tanks and a regulator off of eBay. It wasn't too expensive, but when I looked at solenoids, the price tag jumped. I'm just a poor college student struggling to buy beer on weekends. I decided not to go with the solenoid. I could just turn the needle valve on and off every morning and night. No big deal. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? It was a big deal. Sure, it worked most of the time, but one morning I was in a bit of a rush. I turned the needle valve a bit too much. I came back in the afternoon to find a vortex of CO2 rushing out of the diffuser. The 2 nearite snails were dried up just outside the tank, and the beta was gasping for air at the surface. If he didn't have a labyrinth organ, he'd have been a goner. Thankfully, I got the system squared away, and the beta was alright, but running a pressurized system without a solenoid just wasn't going to work anymore. I love canister filters. They're powerful, quiet, and easy to maintain. The Marineland 350 Magnum is none of these things. I had this canister running on my 29-gallon for over a year. Every night, I go to sleep to the sound of cascading water. Sounds peaceful, right? Not when it's more buzzing, sloshing, and turbulence than serenity. The final draw with this filter was on one of my maintenance days. I was unhooking the hoses so I could clean out the canister. One of the hoses became released from the nozzle. Now I had a live siphon draining my aquarium while my hands were full with the other tube and the canister. It was a mess, and there was more water on the ground than I'd like. It took every ounce of patience I had not to chuck the filter out the window. Every night I go to bed with regret. It's better to regret something you did than to regret not doing it. Finally, we have my top aquarium mishap. This has got to be one of the stupidest things I have done in the aquarium hobby so far. My most recent project has been the development of a 75-gallon South American cichlid tank. Everything had been running smoothly, and I decided I wanted to put a sump underneath the new tank. Since the tank wasn't drilled, I'd have to construct a DIY PVC overflow. No big deal. I got the supplies, fabricated this beautiful contraption of American engineering, and tested it on the tank. It worked perfectly. Now I just needed to place the sump in and plumb everything in place. But wait. The doors on the stand are only 12 inches wide. It's physically impossible to fit the sump underneath the tank. Fail. Remember the saying, measure twice, cut once? Well, measuring once would have been better than not at all. I couldn't believe I overlooked something that obvious. Thankfully, the sump still fits under the 135, so not all is wasted. What are your biggest aquarium mishaps? Let me know in the comments below. You can follow me at facebook.com/aquastudent and support the channel by picking up some epic aquarium gear at aquastudent.spreadshirt.com. Tank on, amigos.